as a group, we don't know how we're engaging with the city council yet, and we will decide that
on Tuesday.
I don't even think we need to say on Tuesday, but we will decide that
in the future.
In the near future. And I don't necessarily think we need to have a press release. I think using the press in this way may not be very, very useful for us. I think we could just put a statement up on our website and up on our Facebook group, and Dave Norris will see it.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't think we need to issue anything. I think we haven't even figured out what we're going to do, so telling other people about it isn't really necessary at all.
Yeah, I think this might be a case of we wait until they say something until
This is the appropriate person to meeting for this, but I was a writing major and I'm an excellent editor, and I'm volunteering myself for whatever press release organization we're going to work on.
So, the fan of stack. I'm going to go ahead and make a proposal that we take a temperature check on the fact that we are not going to issue a press release, since the majority of people in stack said that they did not want to issue a press release. So, can we take a temperature check on taking consensus on that? You don't want to take a temperature check?
Not yet. We
Why
had
is
like
that?
2 people in stack.
Well, the stack ended. Nobody else signed up to speak. Oh, if anybody wants to continue stack, please say how you feel.
Well, I think that it would be advantageous to at least acknowledge the interaction with City Council. See, I think without saying this is a decision that we're coming to, this is how we see it proceeding. But it was a pretty substantial move to have the City Council recognize what's going on here, and to step behind it. And maybe there's some sort of middle ground where we're not saying no, this is what we're going to do, but where we're acknowledging that City Council heard us and heard what was being said. And look forward to some sort of a dialogue. Awesome.
My minor concern is that the mayor has been making statements to the press that, to the effect that we are definitely leaving and we're working on it now. I don't think that we've decided that we're definitely leaving and we're looking at options. I just want it to be clear that we haven't agreed to leave yet. That's all I care about.
All I'm saying is that he is dead on. Dave Norris has put himself in a position where, while I like Dave Norris and I think he's a good guy, he may or may not double cross us on this. And be aware of that.
Okay.
Just be aware.
I'm going to put myself in stack behind this guy, and then I'm going to shut it back if everybody's okay with that.
Like I said previously, I looked at all the press very extensively. Okay. Norris really has not said anything in press beyond what he said in city council chambers. I mean, what he said has been as much as, yes, there's an ongoing dialogue that eventually this park will, revert to its former use. It will become a neighborhood park again. He hasn't laid out any time frame other than to speak about it in very simple terms of in the near future. There is no date attached. And the fact that they are working to find a place to formulate some kind of transition. Okay, if you go through and you read all the press, I mean, I listened to his whole thing when he was on Roy Barefoot this morning, word for word, and he really said very little beyond what happened in city council. He just basically was, sort of elaborating in a minor way on the whole city council meeting, and that was it. So you don't have to, be afraid that Dave Norris is now, putting out to the public this is something that we weren't privy to, because he's not.
Next in stack.
Hey, maybe they have something to offer. There's a lot of space.
Guys.
There's a lot of space in this city that is underused, and there's vacant homes everywhere. And, the mayor had an empty office beside his
I think generally what we need to ask ourselves is, does this warrant a press release? And personally, I don't think it really does. I think that we as individuals have made clear how we felt about City Council on our own individual Facebooks and on the Occupy Charlottesville Facebook. And don't think for a second that the city's not looking at that. Because when we put up that we were getting kicked out of here, they showed up 10 minutes later. So I personally don't feel like we need to issue that because they already know our position. Our public notes from GA are up from last night, so they know exactly what we're talking about. Don't think that they're not reading that stuff, because they are.
And also, I feel like if we do a press release, it might, that whole thing that we were afraid of how, like, we got this idea that things were, like, moving really fast, but I think that was just an idea that we got maybe and something that we kind of ran with in the same vein. And so if we do that, then things are going to happen faster because they're going to take it however they take it, and no matter what, it'll be seen as, like, backlash, I think. So we can just kind of leave it behind.
Okay, so can we take a temperature check on coming to consensus on this? Okay, so if you are not in favor of issuing a press release about City Council, do we have any stand-asides? Do we have any blocks? Okay, so we will not issue a press release. The next item on the agenda is to talk about media. So let's start a stack behind Ashley since she introduced it.
I think we have a serious issue in this group with people talking to the press, talking to the police, talking to city council, talking to whoever on behalf of the group when they either don't know what they're talking about or they're just talking for, I mean, I really don't know what the purpose is, but I thought we consented a few GAs ago that we were going to have a group that was specifically for talking to media, press, police of any sort should the need arise when it arises. That group, I'm not aware of who they are. But I think that we need to go back to that because I think there are too many people who talk to the press and saying things that they should not be saying, revealing information that they should not be revealing, and just generally making us look foolish. So I think that it's something that needs to be addressed.
This proposal, I propose that we elect a council that is press release council.
So we have a proposal to create a working group on dealing with the press.
Indeed.
Is it okay if I take myself out of facilitation mode and speak to this? I don't think that we as a group can dictate who and who does not speak with the press. We can try as hard as we can to have a more cohesive message, and in every GA push the fact that you do not speak on behalf of the group unless it has been decided by a GA that you are to do so. If the press asks you anything, you can choose to say whatever you want, but you have to reiterate the point that you do not speak for the group. And keep in mind that every single thing that you say can be edited down to sound something like you did not intend. My recommendation is don't talk to the press. If they want to know what's going on with our group, they can read our freaking GA notes.
Yeah. And
Watch
I have
YouTube.
an alteration to my proposal, and that is that outside of camp and outside of group, that perhaps no one should talk to the press, but that within our group, that it might well be a decent idea to elect people who make regular presentations to the press. It's what they want, and frankly, not giving it to them is only going to make things worse.
I feel like them coming in
Can
here.
we take stack on this? Because that's what we're on stack for. Next.
Okay.
I just want to make a proposal.
Essentially, what Morris proposed is that we create what would be referred to in the press as a mouthpiece, okay? Which is a derogatory term and is looked down upon, okay? And it is not responded to in in a positive manner. Now, the White House has a press officer, okay, who basically speaks on behalf of the White House. And a lot of people look at that as the White House mouthpiece. Well, you know, the president being who he is can't, you know, he can't go to the press every time something needs to be said. So he has a person who does it for him. But, you know, we need to be really careful about designating specific people only to talk to the press. The press will not respond to that in a positive way because they'll feel like they're being put off. Okay? So I'm really not up with that at all.
Wait, I have a point to point.
Stack.
We have
Stack.
staff.
No.
All right, so
I'd
you have a
actually-
direct response.
Go ahead.
I really feel like, yes, I understand exactly what you're saying, and there is no argument that that's the case on a larger scale, but on a small scale, I don't think that the message that we're trying to present is really entering the public domain, and I feel like a small group of us who have a direct, we can set it up in Stack and work it out, but a small set of issues that are principal concerns should be presented to the press.
Well,
Ashley?
that could take the form of press release, but anyway, what?
I don't think the issue is like whether it's a mouthpiece or not, or whether it's a PR group or not. There are people who can articulate what it is that needs to be said better than others. Not everyone is capable of articulating our purposes, our meanings, or what we're trying to get across in the quickest fashion. And those are the people that we should look to in order to do that if we were going to have anybody speak to the press. I don't think that we need to be speaking to the press because we don't have anything to say right now. All they're doing is making us look dumb, and then we're chasing behind our tails trying to fix everything that they're already putting out there. We need to get our shit together collectively as a group, and then when we have something worthwhile to present, then that's when we need to present it. Nobody needs to be talking to the press outside of the park, inside of the park, around the park, or anywhere else, as far as I'm concerned.
I would like to cut Stack after Jordan.
That's why what I put.
It seems like that's we're in a dangerous position of limiting free speech. You know, and I understand the concerns, but it is a dangerous position of limiting free speech.
What I think the issue at hand is do we assign a group to deal with the press?
Right, but you know, that doesn't say anything against what I'm saying. You got to be aware of limiting free speech, and so that's my concern.
Well taken.
I need to interrupt GA just for a moment. We have a sick person who should probably not be spending the night here, and I need options. Is it Veronica?
Gorilla guy.
Oh. It is someone who does not have a place to go back to.
Pacham?
Nope. Gone.
Closed.
Salvation Army?
What happened to the
How sick?
She's been sick for days, and being out here is making her worse.
Let me stop.